We will do now a little bit of theory about eco gardening and how to approach the soil and what are the basic principles and what is important to know. Then I'd like to do some little exercise, little energetic exercise. We did similar last year in the workshop. And then we will go to the terrain and I will show you practically what would be nice to do for this place. Now, okay, this is the basic structure, and in the well, then we can have lunch, and then a little bit block of self-sufficiency, the basic principles of self-sufficiency, what it is for, and if it is useful or not nowadays, and what is not. What are the main problems with self-sufficiency also, and then we can have the evening meditation. See, but at the moment, first thing I want to tell you how is it connected, the yoga practice with the gardening and with the farming lifestyle. The main thing is that when we are outside and we work with the garden, we are basically working with nature, right? And the nature is a body, right? It's the big body, the body of the planet, with many elements, with the energies, and it's a very complex system. And we actually reflect it. We reflect it with what's happening inside of us is reflecting what's happening outside, and what's happening outside it's reflected in what's happening inside. So if we can imagine our body like a garden, right, which is consisting of this soil of our matha, right? When we do the yoga, we basically make it flexible, we bring the air inside, we make the water circulation better, and all these things that we need to do also in the garden. And yoga itself, it's not just this system of physical exercise. What we did today is a hatha yoga. It's one part of yoga. There are many yogas, many different approaches to yogas, and this physical yoga is like part of a wider system, for example, of Raja Yoga, which has many precepts and many rules. And it's basically one lifestyle. Yoga is a lifestyle, right? And the physical exercise is just one part of it. And it also concerns the way how you behave to others, the way how you take care. The way how you eat, the way how you think, and the way how you what is your attitude, the moral attitude to the world. So when you start to do the exercise, you quickly find out that how you work with your body, that it's very closely to relate also to what you eat, right? When you start to be concerned about what you eat, then you start to be concerned about where the food is coming from. When you start educating yourself about where the food is coming from, you try your best. You try to get the best food you can. And then you find out that what you get in the supermarkets is usually not such a good quality that you're putting inside your body, right? And also that it's not really good for the nature around you, see? And when you start to be concerned about your body, get connection with your body, get connected with your body, then you have much better connection with what is around you and to your garden. Then you are really concerned about the world around you and about the nature. So I think the best way how we can really be ecological is to be more connected with the body. The body then tells us what is best for us and for our health and for our mental health. And once we start work with it, we start to be concerned also about the nature ourselves, because we discover the connection. See? So that's what yoga and other physical practices are important about, because they make the physical connection. So that's why yoga, and why yoga also is a part of my lifestyle and a part of the workshops. They get the connection with the body. That's the main thing. Roni, hele, jdi tamhle k pánečkovi. Jdi tamhle. Tak si sedí, abych tady se mnou. Tak. Okay. And what is eco-gardening then? What is eco-agriculture? What is it?
It's a question.
See. Can you tell me what is your consciousness about eco gardening and knowledge?
It's like I practice that respect the system, the ecosystem that you are
working
you are
on.
you are transforming something, but respecting it. I think no.
Okay. And when you go to the supermarket and you get this bio thing, eco thing, with this leaf, with the stars, that this is coming from eco agriculture, what does it tell you? What exactly? That it respects nature, or you can expect some quality of the product which is inside? What does tells you technically?
That is good in a good come te lo posso spiegare? Well, I expect like quality of the food and also that this food is making with respecting some principle
See, that's of course, but what is this principle? Is there something more inside the product or something less in the product than in the usual products?
I think something more.
Maybe less.
Maybe less, huh? Okay. Well, the main technical definition of the eco-agriculture, the thing, is that it's not using the artificial chemicals.
Okay.
Right? That's one thing. Artificial chemicals that are made from oil or from other things in the laboratories, right? But it can use these natural kind of chemicals, compositions like calciums, and like baking soda we also use in eco-agriculture, but it's basically a mineral, right? It's not artificial made chemical. And so it avoids these kind of chemicals, including fertilizers. Like many fertilizers nowadays are made from oil, actually.
Okay.
It's a petrochemic industry, petrochemic products. So that's what we put into the soil as a fertilizer to make our plants grow better. It's basically very artificial, and it's coming from inorganic things that is hidden under the ground, right? And make by chemistry, make boost it and make it strong and aggressive. So this is not used in eco-agriculture. Also, they are not used these pesticides to kill the things, to kill the pests, which is insect or fungi, the mushrooms, right, or animals, right? So we are not using them in the eco-agriculture. So including fungicides, insecticides, fungicides, generally pesticides, these kind of things. And one more thing that we're not using in eco-agriculture is, one more thing, like chemicals, and there is one extra thing very typical for modern times, for modern science. What is not there? GMO. Yes. GMO, the genetically modified organisms, right? The reasons why we're not using it, there are many, right? We found out gradually that all these things, these chemicals, are destroying the nature. They're causing pollution. They're causing many defects on the natural systems, also on the many species. This very famous example is this using DDT. In the past, everybody thought, well, it's a miracle of the world and of the agriculture. Also, it kills all the insects and stuff. But then we found out that it's actually causing huge damages in the ecosystem, in the people, also on their health. There were discoveries that the eggs of some birds, especially the beast of prey like falcons and eagles, suddenly the eggs has not strong shell enough, so that the embryo cannot evolve and cannot get strong, and many things like this. The DDT was really a poison. The funny thing is that nowadays the DDT is forbidden in Europe, but it's not forbidden in Africa, for example. And still some countries, like some German companies and stuff, they are still making this DDT and explore.
Another country.
Export to Africa and stuff. Well, it's still very strong chemical against malaria, against these mosquitoes, right? But it causes much more much more damage. And we're gradually finding out that all these pesticides, that the residues of these pesticides and the fertilizers, they come into the ground, and from the ground into the rivers, and from the rivers to the sea, and just polluting all the ecosystem, right? And not just polluting. For example, these pesticides, these fertilizers, which are rich in nitrogen, like this N, you know, when the rest of these nutrients comes into the water, they make the water grasses and water bacteria grows very strongly, and it causes something that is called eutrophisation, which is many of these inner grasses of the water, they grow, and they take the oxygen also from the water, and then the other organisms dying, including fish, including other grasses, you know. It takes the sunlight out of it. So again, general effect is that the biodiversity goes down. We're killing the planet, basically, and killing the life on the planet through using all these different kinds of chemicals. Right. Then there is this GMO, which many people say that it's a good thing for the future of the planet because we can feed more people, but it's kind of fake, you know. And we can produce enough. But we, for example, in the Western world, we just eat too much. We produce a lot, but we waste a lot. We're just too comfortable. And generally, around the planet, people are just very comfortable, and wasting policies is terrible. And the social system, how we deal with the material world and with these resources, is just completely absurd. It's very strange. If we change this, then everybody have enough food, and we don't need this genetic modified thing. And the problem with these genetic modified things are, for example, when we create genetic modified organism, and it comes out of the field, and it crosses with something else. These genetically modified organisms, they are made to be strong, right, and resistant. But once they cross with something else that we don't want, which is actually wheat. For example, a wheat is something that we don't want. A plant, official definition of the wheat is a good plant on the wrong place, right? But now imagine that this good plant, becomes in our place, and it will be extremely strong because it's crossed with this strong genetically modified stuff, and we're creating super wheats that we can't get rid of. After all, even then we need to use stronger pesticides, stronger chemicals to get rid of it, and it becomes this strange circle again, right? We can't get out. See, that's one thing. Another thing is, of course, it's disputable about the health of the genetic modified organism. If you can imagine, there was made genetically modified corn, and this corn has a specific gene now made that makes the corn create certain kind of chemical that kills one kind of beetle that eats it. So we're creating actually organisms that have already poison inside. It's creating poison. That's different plant. That's not the corn anymore, right? So this is strange, right? Then we're taking kind of poison, something that is actually killing life, not growing the life. It's another problem with it. And also we're creating new species that we have no idea what they will do in the nature, right? Disbalancing the complete ecosystem. Nowadays we're creating the birds without feathers, for example, the chickens, no? Because in Malaysia or Indonesia somewhere, because it's too hot, so they're making a ventilation system, for the chicken to live inside. And they say, it's too expensive, this ventilation, and the birds are suffering because it's too hot. So, we make birds without feathers, and they don't suffer. We are happy, they are happy. But are there birds anymore? You just look at it, just a skin over the bird, but no feathers, nothing. It's just new species. You want to eat such a thing? You just want to look at it. It's something strange, right? It's different. And we don't know in the time process how it interacts with our life, with our body. We have no idea, right? So it's a kind of risky field with these GMOs. And there are, of course, many other arguments about how risky it is. And eco gardening and eco agriculture do not use it. So that's eco agriculture. No chemicals, basically artificial chemicals, no GMO things, and it tries to create such a way of agriculture which is sustainable. Of course, you know sustainability, yeah, so that we can keep going on for generations. Also, it's agriculture which is not based on the profit only, but on the process, really, on the process of being part of the nature, but not maximize the profit as the agriculture is. General agriculture is a business, it's industry. The main philosophy is to make as much as possible so we get as much money as possible, which is what is the result. What is the result? And we just abuse the planet all the time. It's sucking more and more and more to get just more money, right? And then we're killing what's growing us, what is actually feeding us, right? So this is the main idea of sustainability. Just take as much as we need. Yeah? Be part of the cycle, be part of the planet. Yeah, so that's about eco-gardening and what it is about. I made many notes because I put my knowledge on the ground.
Nello, ora ce lo dice.
And yeah, that's it. Just living in balance with the nature. That's the thing. So that's the main principle of eco-gardening. And if you put it in the small scale in your garden, that's the same thing. No using chemicals, basically. No using GMO things, which are now gradually will be available more and more in the shops also. And we try to be as natural as possible. Sometimes it's difficult, sometimes it's very difficult, but there are ways how to do it. And if you follow some basic principle, you can be even successful, and you can, well, be just happy through the farming. It's very, very nice. Because the farming is not just the eco-farming, at least for me, it's not just about growing things and have the effect, have the harvest. But for me, it's really a way how to connect with nature and become part of this planetary system. Because I'm also a very mental guy. I'm also a modern person. I'm also technical, right? I was born in this industrial world, so I'm very much disconnected. But I try to reconnect as much as possible. And farming for me is really the way how to get connection. So even if we go outside and we work with the soil, if we are just outside and we try to grow something, we observe the garden, we are there outside, we live with it, then we're getting the connection naturally, right? And something changes in us. And something changes in our surrounding for the other people. We become inspiration for others, we become more calm, we eating better food, we just becoming more in the rhythm of the planet, with the rhythm of the planet. So I recommend often people that even if you think you have no talent for that, and even if you grow very little, it's still important to do at least a little bit, to have little box, with soil in your apartment, and just go there for a half an hour every day, just watch how the plant's growing. All these things just get you in the rhythm, naturally. So that's important thing. Right. And as far as my experiences with this are concerned, is that I traveled the world, and I studied with many people who takes care about the garden and do eco-gardening. And I got experiences from many places then. But I'm saying it for the reason that I always started from the beginning. When I was in New Zealand, I learned how they grow things in New Zealand. When I was in Japan, I grew things in Japan, in India a bit, in Bulgaria, in Romania, in Czech, because I am from farming family, so it was a part of my life from my childhood. But thanks to these experiences, I could find out some basic principles that you can put anywhere you go, right? Because each place is different. That's very important. Each place, of course, has different climate, different conditions, different water, different sun. But there are some basic principles that can always help you how to follow the rhythm of the planet and how to follow the farming ways. and how to be even successful. So I was pointing out these principles, and this is something that I want to tell you today. So wherever you go, and from whether any conditions you have, how to start, and what you take care of, and where to put your attention, and always remember when you want to be really in the farming lifestyle and grow things, right? I will not tell you technical things today because I'm not a technical guy. and all these technical informations, like when the plants to grow and how much which one needs, how much water, and what is the consistency of the soil, what should be the pH, and something like this. This all you can find out on internet today. Yeah, and me too. I always forget them, and I need to remember them again. So every year when I'm farming, I open the internet again or my books again to remember these technical things. But this is easy. This technical knowledge you can find out anywhere. But the main principle, nobody will tell you, basically. And if you read them, it just goes through, sometimes it splashes, sometimes through your brain. And when I wanted to learn them and wanted to be stable in them, I needed to meet people who are experienced in it. And through that experience, it flowed into me. And through my experience, I confirmed them. So the principles are important. See? Right. So are you ready?
Yeah.
Yeah? Yeah? So, when we go we have a garden. Yeah? And just look around. This is a garden, right? It's already a garden. See? Is it a garden? See? So this is a garden, right? And in the real basement, in the real root, this garden consists of something very basic. Try to find out.
Rocks.
Rocks, yes. Yeah. Trees. Mm. Soil. Uh-huh. Make you think, huh? Pietra, rocks. See. Pietro. Plants. See. But all these. Oh, water. See. Yeah, we're getting there. It's plants are actually already extra, but behind and beyond all these things like plants and rocks, they are the basic elements. Minerals in the soil. Minerals, see, also soil, which you said already. And this all pointing out to the really basics, and which are the elements, right? The 5 basic elements, which are the soil, ground, the hard matter, water, heat and fire, which is sun, right? Air, and the 5th one, we have usually 4, right? In the Western thinking, but there is one more in Indian way of thinking, and in my experience, it's energy. Aether can be akasha, space. You know, it's really energetic. It's some kind of vibration, something really etheric that goes through everything, right? Sound also. Yeah. We can recognize it through sound or through touch. It's very, very soft level of the reality, but it's very important at the same time also. So I want to go now through each element, how to deal with it, and what to be conscious about, how to take care, because we need each of this element we need in a balance in order to create lively and nice ecosystem of our garden, right? And each of these input of that element gives us nice direction of what we should think about and what we should come back to think about always. If some plants doesn't grow very well, then we ask, soil, water, air, ether, and sun. Okay, so what's wrong? Something maybe not good for this plant in this way. So we can ask, maybe a little bit of water, maybe not good quality of water, maybe too much sun, maybe there's something in the soil, maybe I should put it in another place, right? So if you remember these 5 things, and something goes wrong in your garden, then you can always find basically the solution. You can find the cause of the problem, and you can find the new direction where to go. So, first of all, the first element that we can take care of, water, right? We definitely need water. See, water is life. Yeah. Our body consists 70-80%, I don't know, 78% of water, and we keep intaking water and all this nature, right? Everything that we call basically nature, the living organic nature needs water. So we need also water in the garden. Definitely it depends what we grow, and when we grow things in Sicily you have less water generally than we have, for example, but well, it depends. And it depends on the which plants you want to grow, how much water you need. Like olives, they don't need much, right? They are very fine with little water. You don't need to take care much about olives unless they are well, you need to take care and give them water when they are small. Once they are big, they are kind of fine. But when we have water, we think about water. We should think about the quantity, how much water we need, and we should think about the quality of the water, where it comes from. You know, what is the best water we can use?
What is the best water?
Best water in the garden, in order for the plants, but in order also for the nature.
River.
River. Yeah, if we have river, we're very lucky. Yeah. If we don't have river, where to get water?
Springs.
Springs, also cool. And rain.
Rain.
We usually try to gather as much rain water as we can. And if we are lucky and live in such a natural environment, it's supposed to be a good water. Like in Czech Republic, for a long time there was a big problem about this acid rain, because we have many of these power plants using coal, burning coal, and then you putting a lot of smoke, this toxic smoke with CO2 or something, into the air, and then you get acid rain. So there happened in certain years that this acid rain destroyed all forests around this area, right? Because it's really acid, it burns the forest basically. So such a rainwater you don't want, right? But generally, because we also on the planet, and as we imbalancing and disturbing this natural ecosystem, you can see late years there are big problems with water circulation, and probably I estimate it will be worse and worse. We might have too much water on one place where we're not used to it, in one part of the planet, and too little water on the other side, right? With catastrophic drains, right, and catastrophic floods somewhere else. Here, probably you might have problem with lack of water for the future, right? So it's really good to have some containers, or to have wells and dig, and store as much as the rainwater as possible when it comes. Yeah. So that's about it. Also, when you go through the land, it's very nice that in the back you have this water flowing, and there is water gathering. So then it's always good to dig a hole, dig little lake, little pond, and store the water there. Not just for watering and taking the water and give it to the plants, but the water ecosystem also enrich the land very much. That's where the life gathers. When you have life in the garden and in your space, then everything flourishes much better. So it's important to learn how to store water in your land. It's a very big issue these years, and it will be much stronger issue following years. I have a friend who is a really professional in this. He works for some companies in the north of Czech, and he just goes through the land and thinking and monitoring where to store the water in the landscape, in the country, right? How to do it. Or there are some kind of big projects, like for example, on the opposite side of the border in Poland, there was a big mining company, and they made a huge hole in the ground. And inside this huge hole, many water capillaries from the land were gathered, and all the water went there, even from the Czech side, right? So on the Czech side, on the huge land, we suddenly started to lose all the water. and the trees were dying again. The land started to be very dry. The agriculture was suffering also because suddenly no water. So there were big fights through administration with the Polish, but at the same time they hired my friend and he went through the land and learned how to stop the water, to not go to the Polish side, right? Mm-hmm. So this is also happening on many places in the world. And nowadays, because this all strange circulation of the energy, what's happening, we will really need to take care of the water. So once you do gardening, think about the water, how to store water, and to have always. You know? That's one thing. And another thing, we should be modest with the water also. Learn how to be modest and really distribute it properly. You know? Think how much we have, how much we can use. Now that's very important skill. Before, everybody has from underground or from the system, we get water as much as we can. This will not be possible in the future, probably. No? So, another thing is we need to know, and I told already, how much which plant needs, how much water. And one thing is very practical, when do we water the plants? That's something universal also. When do we water?
In the evening.
In the evening, see. Or?
Or in the morning, without sun.
See. But very early. So usually people not waking up in the morning so early. But yes. And why? Why in the... Yeah, before you said so.
The sun.
It's the sun. When we do watering during the day, we lose a lot of water. It just evaporates. But also, because it's so hot, we put the water when the soil is hot, it gets hot and it goes down and it burns the roots. Yeah. So you burn your plants actually. So that's why I say it's so important to in the morning or in the evening. That's the important thing about watering. And when we don't have much water, it's important, we should learn how to communicate it with our plants. You know, you just need to be gentle to your plants, even tell them, sorry, we don't have so much water. You need to be strong. Yeah? And this communication, right? You're laughing, but it's really... Yeah?
It's funny.
See, it's funny. It's funny.
I can believe it.
See. It really is like this. They somehow understand us, you know. Mm-hmm. So the communication with plants, it's a... Nowadays, it's a very important subject. Most people keep putting it in the esoteric stuff, right? But it's not esoteric. When we have we give some energy through our talk, and the plants react to our energy. If it's kind of good energy, they react good, and they feel like they are ours. They are in our space, I believe, right? And they feel like somebody who is mastering them, right? And if you nice to them, they flourish. They're like kids, no? If you are nice to them, if you talk to them, and they get this energy and they're getting also strong. When they're happy, kind of, they're strong. We probably cannot talk about happy plants and about some emotions as we have, but they have some reactions on our emotion, right? And I have even, from my personal experience, you know, it's even like mysterious. We had, in our garden, my father, he had old pear tree, right? Pears, yeah, like apples. And this pear tree was 5 years, nothing, not a fruit, not a single fruit. And we were standing there, and my father said, "Okay, I will cut it next year. Just gives nothing. Next year, full." Suddenly, you know. And I have the same experience told me my friends. They said exactly the same. They came to the tree and said, "I cut you. You have no more use." Suddenly, you know. It's
not kind.
It's not kind. Yeah.
Be kind.
No. It's not.
Is like
See.
Menace.
Yeah. Sometimes you don't have to be kind, and just communicate. See. Just communicate. No?
I will kill you.
Yeah. Well, if you don't
I'm sorry, but you will die.
See. Yeah, but you just speak to them. No? You talk to them.
It's important to communicate.
See. That's what I try.
Kind.
Not just kind. Yes. Don't need to be always kind, but of course you want them to be kind of happy.
Yeah.
So you try to be kind, but sometimes, if they are not productive, if they're just losing, well, sorry. No? And then suddenly miracle can happen. No? Yeah.
And go a big production.
See. But it doesn't mean that you keep going in your garden every weekend. You fuckers! You done that! I cut you off! It probably will not work now. But yeah, the communication.
It's not yoga gardening.
See. But communication, communication. And it's actually more you spend in the garden, it kind of naturally comes to you. Mm-hmm. I also was like very skeptic to this thing, Okay, it's just plant, right? me and this is plant, it's alive, but I just don't believe it can understand me. Well, now I go to the garden and just naturally talk to the plant. Say, I will just give you some more soil, okay? And all this makes different relation. And all the relation makes it flourish. The relation makes it a live ecosystem. The relation brings your consciousness there, which is kind of important point. There was this Masanobu Fukuoka. You know him? Masanobu Fukuoka is kind of a farming master in Japan. He created something which is called Shizen Noka, natural farming. You might know it, these are these seed balls, famous seed balls, right? He, at the end of the stage of his farming, he just take a soil, put the seeds inside, water, make this ball and throw it in his garden. That was the way how he was seeding, right? And now people know this method and say, I want to do this also. Yeah, this is the Masanobu Fukuoka way. Yes, I want to throw these balls.
These balls.
Right? Just no seeding, no work.
I was
just
telling you yesterday, at the school they do this.
See. But, well, it's like if you see Morihei Ueshiba, it was an Aikido master, when at the last stage of his skills, he was able to defeat his opponents even without touching them. He had such a sensitivity for the energy that he just moved around them, and that's not crazy thing. This is real. Right? He had such a sensitivity when they were making a bath for him to get a bath, right? To wash himself, and his student just put one finger inside. He felt it after. He said, "Okay, make me new one. I can't relax there." See, it was very high level of sensitivity already, but also power. And I believe this Masanobu Fukuoka was such a guy at the end of this life and of his skill. They said it was just like a jungle, his garden. Like almost no organization, chaos. But you go and there's huge radish suddenly. Here's plenty of carrots suddenly, huge, beautiful, right? And behind bush and fruit trees, and it was everything he needed, and it grew by itself without much work. It looked like, but you put a lot of power of the consciousness there, and many years of growing the soil, and communication. It's the communication with the land and with the plant that makes it so alive and so wild, and at the same time serving for your purpose, happily, kind of, right? So it's really high level already. Now people want to start permaculture or Shizen Noka, this natural farming, straight away. Okay, just do nothing, and it will grow itself. It doesn't work like this. Even Masanobu Fukuoka, when he was starting, he had already this feeling that he wants to interact and interrupt the nature as little as possible, right? So he started straight away. He got one orchard for the peach tree orchard after his father, and these peach trees were taken care of maybe 10, 20 years, right, in the normal way, and he suddenly said, "No, I will do nothing." And most of the peaches died. They lost suddenly this care they were used to. So he said, that's not the way. I need to really start taking care from the beginning and develop this way of no touching. And eventually he developed the way of no plowing the earth, no like flipping over, right? But it were years of development and years of creating relationship, years of communicating with the plants, with the land, and with himself. It's really like a spiritual practice. It's not that easy. But everybody can get there, I believe, through this communication and sensitivity, right? So when I come back to the subject, when you don't have much water, you just communicate that with the plants. And I had the experience that in the years when we had really no water in Romania, and we had to bring it from 200 meters away, like carrying 150 liters every day, every evening, in 4 people or 2 people on our back or on the horse. We really gave little to the plants, no? But with the feeling, please, survive. No? And they survive, and they gave still harvest as much as we needed. Not that much, like now when I have plenty of water, but it was enough. So it will give you then enough what you need. You need humbleness, modesty. And another thing connecting to this, when you go to your garden, you might get the feeling that you are actually fighting with the outside world and with the insects and animals to get these fruits for yourself. Yeah? So you're growing the tomatoes, suddenly some beetles comes, eats it all, and they eat it all. Well, it is kind of fight, it is kind of race, but you should be conscious that this garden is part of wider garden, wider ecosystem, right? And from this ecosystem, it's not yours, and there are also some things that are coming, and they want to participate on it. So, yeah, there is kind of rule even in this Shizen Noka, this natural farming, that you should accept that 20%, 30% will be eaten by somebody else, and just gladly give it. Think about it from before already. Don't think about maximize the profit, but 30% will be yours, you know? And then you have also more gentle and open attitude to all the things. So that was water. Something else about water? And if you have any question, please ask me anytime. No? About water? Something? Okay. So, next is the fire, the sun. We always need sun. All the plants need sun. Actually, different plant needs different quantity and different quality. What is the quality of the sun? How would we define the quality of the sun? Quantity is as much as we get through the day. Quality, what can be the quality of the sun?
Depends on the plant that
you
grow.
Maybe, no? Yeah, how it can absorb it, no? How much it's able to accept. Yeah, maybe. But the quality of the sun, it might be not so important for us.
The temperature.
The temperature, generally, yeah. So we should think about the climate we are in, definitely. The Sicily has long sun, and the summer are very hot. And the way you grow things here are very different than we grow it in Romania. And for example, potatoes, it's a very nice example. You plant them here in November, right?
They also suggest
Sometimes.
on March at with the moon.
Possible. Maybe possible.
The second time.
See. So when I saw last year, first time, that people are seeding patatas in November, I said, you crazy? But then, this is Sicily. Come on. Because we plant potatoes in May or at the end of April, usually. And generally the potatoes, which are grown in the colder countries, like Romania or Czech Republic, Germany, are actually nicer and better tasty than this one from here. Because the potatoes don't like much sun and much strong sun. And they like when it's cold. So colder countries are generally better for growing potatoes.
Vallone
Mm-hmm.
The place with the hazelnut where I have the house. It's colder.
See. Might be better for potatoes. So that might be the quality, because they like sun, but they don't like that much heat thing, right? Yes. So that's the quality. When the sun is here even stronger, there's a lot quantity, but it's also stronger. In my countries, it's not that lot, and also it's weaker. See? And each plant has different demands. Olive trees, they can live here. I planted 2 olive trees last year in my place, and I just pray that they will survive, right? But they love sun. And also the way you cut it, as we learned last year, you cut the middle so the sun can come and they can absorb as much because they love sun. They're sun lovers. Yeah. But some plants, they love shadow. And then you have to think about which put in the shadow in colder place. And some plants live like even stronger heat. And for that, you have a thing that is called sun trap. You know what is that? Sun traps? Many people searching for a sun trap.
Forse i nodi energetici? No. No, if it's something related with energy.
Not that much, not with the soft energy, with the sun. Really, like, for example, if we are in the south slope, right? The south is there, yeah? North is there. Now, so if like there would be, this is a good example. If you imagine this is this is 2 meters big, this place, you know, this little place. And if this is a sun-loving and hot-loving plant, it would grow very strongly because here is a sun trap. There is the stone on this side, there is this stone also on this side, and it accumulates heat from the south.
Sole, catturare il sole, to catch the sun.
Catch the sun trap, so it's catching the sun. So now really the soil here will have much higher temperature. So you can, if you have some plants that are really sun-loving, you can go through your land and search these sun traps. That's what I did in Romania at first, really. I wanted some warmer stuff like tomatoes and paprikas, and I was really searching for these sun traps.
That are like stones?
See, stones, for example, or some...
From the conformation of the soil.
See. On the south slopes, you can find many sun traps, or even actually in the north, if there are... Well, actually, there is a north, and maybe this can be like a sun trap. If we find somewhere, you can, and you can again see on internet there are many examples how to find and manuals how to find sun traps in your place. But it's nice to work with this stuff. And then one more thing that accumulates the sun, of course, artificial one, but nice if you want.
Artificial way to accumulate
and heat.
The
hot.
Okay.
What is this simply?
Navaska.
A bus? A bus?
Like a box, like...
See. Like a glass house and plastic houses, basically. Yeah. So this is very nice, modern thing. I'm using it too, but there you have to be careful. It makes you not that free, you know? There you have to really take care of the things because there's very hot inside. So you need to keep opening it. Yeah. Right? You need to keep adding a lot of water. And I think
wind can make it flower away.
Yes.
With all the seeds.
I was always like afraid when this strong wind came. Watching my plastic house, will it survive? Because I made it also self-sufficiently from wood, flexible wood. I made like this, and just put the plastic, and it lasted like 2-3 years. Then it was rotten. But I didn't need any artificial construction for it. But yeah, you need to be careful then with it. It's just another child in your garden, you know, to take care. So the sun, how long summer we have, how long the winter, and then it shows you and tells you also which plants you can grow and in which way. For me, first time in my life, also here in Sicily, I saw growing the paprikas all year long.
Paprika is...
The piment.
No, I know what is paprika. I don't know the plant. How is the plant?
No, I don't know.
Because usually, these plants do not...
It's like pepper.
Peppers, sì. Pepper or even tomatoes, so you can just leave it outside through the winter, right? Because you have very rarely minus here.
Melanzana also.
Melanzana, sì. It was for me like, whoa, they keep leaving it outside and you can grow again next year from the same plant. How many years? 2-3 years? They give fruits, see? Well, in Czech Republic or Romania, only 1 year and gone. In the place in Japan also, I was living in 900. So also in Nagano, it was not possible to keep it outside. So for me, it was nice, like to see you can keep outside. In the Czech, we take out and seed again every year. See, and usually in the plastic house because it's sun loving. So another thing is what is this Swiss woman in Noto? Ragi. I saw first time in my life with ragi that you can, for example, seed the onion and follow the whole cycle of the onion and interrupt it. Because in Czech, when you want to get onions from the seed, you seed the seed, then it takes long to make little onion, right? Then you take these little onions out, because I think they would freeze over the winter. You take them out, and then you seed them the next year in the spring to get the real onion. See? That's normal. That's normal way. But not here. Then I got to Ragi and she showed me. I said, and she was explaining me again and again. And said, I don't understand you. How? It's not possible. She said, it's just one cycle, you see. It's one cycle. You just put it there and leave it. Come on, and make onion. It just takes longer. I said, Then I understood you have such a low winter here, no? Basically no winter, right? Your winter here is like our spring, late spring. No? So, yeah, that was like a miracle for me. Very interesting. So the methods are different, because of the climate. That's all made by sun. That's all the way how the sun is relating in the space and working. So, that's about the sun. You still have energy and attention? Yeah. So we carry on the other two elements.
Yeah.
So one of the maybe the most important, after all, that we have to take care of. It's not just about to be passive about. Which one is it? Which element that you can actively create, help, prepare? Soil. See, the soil. Yeah. So what is the soil, actually? What does it consist of? The soil.
Sands. Little sand. Little stones. Very little stones.
Animals, organisms, see.
And these stones and sand are made of minerals.
There is one
water,
more. Water.
Air.
And there is one more thing, important one.
Not the root.
Root. That's what you named, the stones and sand. That's unorganic materials. Then the animals and microorganisms is the living thing already. But there is one in between.
Some
That's been between animal and plant. That's different.
maybe that organism, no?
See. That organism. So organic matter. That's the thing. Okay. So the soil generally and technically consists of unorganic matter, which are these minerals and stuff and stones and clay and sand, which basically which show us what is the basic structure. Like here there is mainly clayish soil in what Gianluca has. Clayish.
Argilla.
Clay. Or some other places it's more sandy. And that's actually depends on how big these mineral particles are. The sand, when you have the sand, the mineral particles are a bit bigger. Then you have even the technical definition, right? When it's the clay, They are much smaller, so they hold together. It's still the same particle.
The minerals are smaller
in
clay.
See, the rocks, basically the rock part, the anorganic part,
made in
it's clay.
Okay.
The anorganic part, if they are very small, if it's like dust, it makes clay. When it's like more like sand, it makes sandy soil.
Okay.
Right? And then plus there are stones and bigger thing, and there are extra minerals, of course, like calcium, iron, and stuff like this, right? And when we have these, when we have this anorganic part, it's very important for us. It shows us the way how we grow the things. When it's sandy, it doesn't hold the water very well, right? So you need to take care of the water much more, and the roots can get easily through, but they can get easily dry and burn, right? And you have to again select the proper attitude to it. That shows you most.
But you can always tell them, don't worry.
Yes, don't worry.
Try to be strong.
That's always behind it, of course. But yeah, well, if you go to your soil, you first check out if it's more clayish or more sandy. That selects many of your different attitudes, especially dealing with water, dealing with seeding, when to seed, how to take care of mulching, how to press the soil when you grow things, when you're seeding, because sometimes when you have seed and you put seed inside and you press around and it's clay, you make it very compact, so then the air cannot come. It's difficult for the seed to sprout, right? If it's sandy and you don't push, it loses a lot of water quickly, and it also doesn't sprout very well. There it's good to push, right? So all these little attitudes are...
I'm calming them. I'm going to fight.
Oh, okay. So that's one thing that is important to check out, whether clayish or sandy. Then what kind of minerals it consists of, it's usually difficult to say. For example, if you have a lot of iron, you will understand it because it gets more red kind of soil. If you have calcium, no. Now usually you cannot really say. But it's good if you are really interested in that, and if you want to concentrate on farming, then to analyze it. You can put it into some laboratory, or there are even special places when you send some piece of soil, and they will analyze it for you.
There is one like empiric way, and it's to put in a bottle of glasses the soil with water, shake it, and in a week maybe or some days it will separate, and you see how much clay, how much sands, how much of the other things that I don't know how to say in English. You can see how it is in the different parts.
Super.
A bit of this.
Yeah. So you reminded me. There are some like homemade methods how to get this basic, and these basics are usually enough.
Another thing that they teach me, it was to put, but it's not natural at all. To use this water with oxygen that it's used to disinfect or to take things out.
Peroxide.
See this, and you take a little bit of ground. You kill things. You take a little bit of ground and put this, and you see how much it spread the mousse, la schiuma.
Gas.
La schiuma proprio.
Fume, maybe.
Schiuma.
It's
oxygen.
Fume, the bubbles kind of.
Yeah. Depending on the bubble, you see how alive is this soil.
So it tells you the liveness.
A lot of bubble, you kill a lot of things.
Oh, that's interesting. It's a bit cruel, but okay, it's a little bit. But yeah. That's interesting. I didn't know. So but these methods are easily to find out once you put it in Google or something, or search for this, or ask friends.
Friends that try to spread this knowledge for people without the laboratory or
Perfect. So you can find out, but it's important to think about it. Okay, That's what kind of minerals consist of. And another thing connected with this, which is even more important, is pH. pH. You know, if it's more acid or more alkaline. Now I will not tell you the numbers. Again, it's easy to find out. But as a growers, as a farmers, we usually, for most of the plants, we demand alkaline soil. So not acid, right? Some plants like acids, like some kind of berries, strawberries, blackberries, I think also. They like when the soil is acid. Some fruit trees, maybe even
Il limone.
olives.
Neanche di vino.
Vino.
Olives.
No, Pino.
Pino is like
Pine.
Pines, yeah. Pine trees.
See, the leaves
See,
make the soil acid.
acid, yes, needles.
So we can put strawberry under the...
Possible, but it's usually they make shade also. Strawberries likes also light. No.
The light.
I think so. Well, in Czechia, I don't know
I
here.
would imagine more on the shadow.
No, I think it's
The strawberry.
Strawberry,
the
I
shadow
think
is better, no?
shadow is good for
Because
raspberries,
like woods
Sotto
fruit.
but the small ones, you
Like,
know. But yeah, I don't. Well, it depends really.
well, the
We
sun
have
in
this
Sicily is
experiment.
violent.
See. So maybe here it will
Here,
be better
I think
shadow.
it's better not direct sun. No?
Possibly. Yeah.
So acid, alkaline.
But there is. Do you have this pine tree there? I was in the corner. I was thinking what can be there, but there it will be very acid, I think. But at the same time, it's very shady. I was thinking very shade. Dark.
Shade.
So I was thinking what to put there, but then I thought, no, this will be like nice for relaxing point. No? Like not.
It's good for nothing.
Yeah. And there is also a lot of stones, you know, and it's like passing area. I'll show you. See. Yeah. But for most we demand this alkaline pH. And because we get to the farm or to the place, if you want to start a garden from zero, then often it can happen. You can get acid soil. So it's up to you to build up the good soil. You know, building up good soil is very important in eco-farming and natural farming. You're basically growing your soil first in order to grow nice things. It's a very important point. You're growing the soil. The soil is a living basement for another life, for your garden. So if it's too acid, one thing how to make it more alkaline is to add some things that make it more alkaline gently. It can be, for example, ash, burn things, this powder from the burn things.
Non l'avevo capito. I didn't imagine which was the effect of ash.
But be careful with it. You know, it can be
Clean.
year after year, little by little. You know, if you put too much at the it's
This is what I heard, but he is trying to put lot. This is the experiment. We are
Non va bene.
No, dico lo puoi usare come disturbante. Dove vuoi disturbare, lo butti.
E non ti cresce neanche.
Però rimane nel terreno a disposizione.
Sì.
Se diluito poi.
Troppo.
No, che non ti serve più, zappetti un po'.
No, gently. It also the ash. It's not only making alkaline, but it gives important minerals, nutrition. That's and when we put too much, it's imbalancing the soil. You know, I think there is a lot of phosphorus. I'm not sure. No, I'm not sure which one is it. But with the ash, you need to be careful. But ash is such an amazing thing. You know, when they burn after pruning the olive trees, most of them they burn, right, the branches, and they just leave it there. And the best thing is you gather the ash and give it back to the olive trees. You give them back what you took out. The olive tree will be happy, you know. So ash can help to make it alkaline. Another thing is calcium, this limestone. But you again need to be careful with it. Better if you put it in the compost, let it digest together with the compost, then add it to the soil with the compost.
Gusci di uova o che cosa intendeva? Limestone.
Like this white thing you put on the wall.
In a compost.
See. You put a little bit in the compost. Again, find out more how much and the a good ratio. But I was doing that. Yes. It helps to make it alkaline too. And then because usually this organic matter, like digested plants and things that you have in compost, they are usually alkaline. So you keep adding the compost and building up the soil. Keep adding organic material to the soil, and it gradually gets more alkaline. And one more thing, how to educate your soil and how to create and build up, make it nice for your vegetable, is basically through growing things there. If you will go and put every year grow things there, even before it was a forest, you can imagine it was just a forest or just stone, nothing growing there. You start growing the vegetables, the soil and the microorganisms and all the ecosystems gradually changes and adjust to these new plants, to this new vegetable growing. So it's adjusting to these new plants, and when you're putting there every year, it gradually adjusts and transforms itself into vegetable productive soil, right? And for me, it was also at the beginning like experiment, like watching and just theory, because this you can get approved only through time, right? But it's right. I spent 7 years in my place, 7-8 years, like growing the soil from the beginning, from meadow. It was just a meadow, just grass, wild grasses. I created a garden from it. At the beginning, it was just a brown kind of unproductive clayish soil. Now it's very nice, getting very like black and full of organic material, full of life. The things are growing better and better every year, but it's just matter of time then, and patience. Just keep building up the soil, and approach it as a living material, right? Because that's another thing. This life inside, there are many microorganisms living. And these microorganisms creating the living ecosystem, living basement for your plants. And you try to not disturb them much. You try not to kill them. You try to nourish them as much as you can. So what we do in the conventional agriculture is that we go to these heavy tractors and we every year upside down the soil, right? And then adding all the chemicals, and you look at the soil, you make some analysis, it's basically dead. It's dead soil in many cases, right? Because there are no microorganisms, no living ecosystem. It's just a productive factory, which is so poor that we need to keep adding more and more chemicals, more fertilizers, abuse it more, and then it's just a dead rock, dead particles, unorganic matter, nothing else. And in that opposite, the natural farming does saying no plowing even. Don't disturb these little animals at all, but just keep adding, give them air, keep losing the soil, bring the air inside. That's important. But otherwise, just be gentle. Let them do their job. Then these earthworms are also important. Lombrigi, these things. Yeah. When they go there, they eat the organic particles, they leave shits, which is very organic, they bring air, and they are part of this soil ecosystem. And more life you have there, more happy also the soil is and the plants, So building up the soil from the unorganic material, then from the organic material thing. In this natural Japanese Masanobu Fukuoka natural farming, she's a Noka. The ideal of the gardening there is to not take anything out and not bring anything back. You just keep the circulation with still the same amount of matter, right? So eventually they don't even add some compost from outside. Everything that you take from there, you put back. If you eat the fruits there, you give the shit back, and just make a circulation. And that's their ideal. For me, when I have very poor the soil, I keep adding material. You keep adding organic material. That's for me works better, but of course in a sensitive way. So you don't take anything out. That's for me important rule. Same I told you with these olives. When you cut, make ash, give it back, right? And also when you do weeding, you take weeds. Most people, they gather the weed and throw it outside. Well, either throw it away or put it on compost. Compost is a good way, but why not leaving it there already? You take out, pull it out, leave it there. It gets dry, dead, stays on that place. Yeah? Just don't take things out. Just keep it there and adding more organic material. No?
E anche una pacciamatura, no? Cover the soil.
See. Cover. Now, that's another thing. And another important topic is mulching. Mulching is the covering the soil. See, when this Masanobu Fukuoka, he wrote important book which is called The Revolution of One
Filo di paglia.
See, one straw revolution. Yeah? It basically indicates a little bit to this mulching technique when you keep the soil cover, right? This is very cool because the mulching is solution for many problems, or at least part of solution. Mulching means that you have a plant. Let's imagine this is your vegetable, and you add around some organic matter, around to gather the soil.
Pacciamatura la chiamiamo.
Pacciamatura.
Pacciamatura is in Italian.
Sì.
That's a nice word. Pacciamatura.
Pacciamatura.
So in English, mulching.
Mulching.
Mulching. Mulching. Yeah, mulching. Pacciamatura. And this pacciamatura, what does it do? Tell me. There are many purposes and many reasons why we do it.
Protect the sun, cover for the sun.
Okay.
Keep
The water.
It's food for the soil.
Food.
Help without the weed that you don't want.
A good temperature of the soil.
Sì.
Anche l'umidità, forse.
Humidity.
Humidity, Sì. Oh.
Aria, i microorganismi mangiano.
Mangia these things. Yeah. So the food for the soil. Oh.
Yes, and air, no?
Air. Makes it more fluffy, like airy. Yeah, well, you said it all. Basically. Yeah, perfect, amazing. Yeah. So yeah, one more. First, number one, for example, stops the weed or helps not to growing the weed so strongly. No, you have less work with weeding. Perfect. Then stops the water to come out much. No, so you keep the humidity. You store the water. Perfect. Number three, it keeps the temperature, but it keeps the temperature that it's the balance of the temperature, that the jumps of the temperature are not so extreme. And most of the plants, most of the vegetables, they like when these extremes are as little as possible, that it's constant. And this helps to keep the constant temperature. See. Perfect note. Another thing is that it stops compacting the soil. You know, that's very important. I think that's what you're pointing out. When rain comes or something hits the soil, it shrinks together. It's getting compact. The rain gets compact, especially when it's clayish soil, a lot of clay. Then it becomes like stone. Then the air cannot go through. Then the roots cannot come through, right? And yeah, that's less life. So we try to keep it fluffy, loosen, and the cover from outside helps it. Same like sun, protects against the sun, so it doesn't get burned, right? It's nicely shady, and all the microorganisms in the soil can flourish, can be better. And also it's aesthetic. Once you start to do it, it's nice when it makes kind of organization and it looks good. Also, it protects against some insect because they cannot find then the plant so easily. Maybe it helps on the other side some insect because they can find it more easy, you know. But generally, the mulching is super positive for the soil, and for the garden. Also because it brings the organic material, so it rots and it's food for the soil and for the vegetables. But you need to be careful to not put too much, for example. When you put too much strong layer, then it starts rotting, for example. When it's rotting, when something rotting in your garden, it's not rotting. It's fermentation.
Ah, okay.
But this bad fermentation. You know, you have good fermentation and bad.
Marciume,
Marcia, maybe.
Okay.
Sì.
Marcia.
When you
Like when the fruit is too mature
See. Yeah. Fungus and yeah, see? And this first stage of this rotting thing, it brings microorganisms and things that you actually don't want in the garden, right? And the plant can catch these rotting bacteria and so not good. So when you're making compost, you know, when you have the rest from the kitchen, some people do that they throw it straight away into the garden. Okay, if you don't make big layer or little by little, it's kind of okay. If you put like whole or a lot on the hump,
yes, it's
orange,
not good.
then it's rotting and it's not good for the garden. It brings these bad bacteria, kind of. You first let it rot, fermentate properly, then it becomes food for the garden.
Yes.
Also shit you can't put straight away.
You need to mature.
Mature. Mature it. Yes. Because it has in the shape of the freshness, the plant cannot eat it. It's unavailable. All these minerals are there, all the things are there, but she's not able to eat it.
Yeah.
It needs to be pre-digested by these bacteria first. Same like us, no? Our bacteria helps us also to digest things. No?
Like a compost.
See. That's the compost. That's the way of composting. So put it first in compost, let it stay for 1 year or even longer. No? For example, when you make a compost from the human shits, it says it should be even a bit longer. But might be another reason about the pathogens, because we have some inner sicknesses, or some other people comes to your toilet, or they have using some medicines, stuff like this. So it's better to leave it longer in order to digest all these shits, no? All these shits from the shits.
The shit.
Sì. Oh.
Sempre battutone io, bravo.
Lingue, proprio sempre sul pezzo.
For this, I was a bit. It was strange to be in this Japanese monastery. I was living in a Japanese Zen monastery, and they were very self-sufficient, growing many things, even their rice and stuff. But they were not very sensitive to the garden. They didn't have this openness, and they were shitting and peeing. They have big containers, and 2 times per week we took these shits and this urine, and we straight away watered the garden. Some of the plants flourished, okay, some not. At the same time, there were girls using anti-conceptions.
And did you flourish when you make it?
No. I discussed that with the abbot, that at least you should change this, maybe. It would be nice for the nature and for you, for what you eat, but they didn't care much, no.
I tried to use the pee with water regularly.
See.
A little bit with water, and it seemed all good.
Oh, good. If it's little, it's very strong, no? But if you make it weaker with the water, then it's okay. And it's also good to let it ferment, like leave it for 1 year, maybe, the pea, and then use it. But still, it's like they say 1 to 10 or 1 to 8 with the water. Because there is a lot of things, but it's very good. The urine is very good, actually.
It's difficult to find a place where to store this pea fermentating.
Yes. That was. That was one stupid argument of my ex-wife, Japanese wife, in the divorce also, because I was all winter when I was staying alone, I was peeing in a container. And then I let it ferment, and when she came back, she was helping me. I asked her to help me to water the garden with it. And she said, because they're Japanese, they never express that they don't like something or like something. So she said, okay. And she did with me. I didn't know that she didn't like and that she felt disgusted, right? But then during the divorce, and he made me to use his pee to water the garden. Not like this, but it was like one argument, one little stupid, just a stupid side argument. But yeah, well, don't make your partner to use your pee. This is the lesson.
Especially if he's Japanese.
Sì. Yeah. Ma, so yeah.
Usavamo però un bidone filtrante, cioè con le pietre di varie dimensioni.
Con
La
pietre.
pipì andava là e poi diciamo, credo era doppio e troppo pieno di tutto. Sì, usciva di, non mi ricordo più, però insomma era così, non veniva fatto fermentare all'aperto.
What does he say?
That in Africa they use like a method with the piece that filter the piece into the rocks, into level of rocks.
Yeah. It's very good, probably. Clean it out of these particles that you don't want.
And stay the time.
Ferment a bit. See.
What inside? No?
Yeah. Good, but pea is a good fertilizer. Yeah, generally.
This I saw.
Yeah.
That it changed.
Yeah. You could observe it. Wonderful. Yeah. Another thing that you can use for this instant fertilizing, because these liquid fertilizers are very nice. Then you have many plants and herbs that you put in the water and ferment again. You know nettles? Nettles?
No,
Nettle is the plant with the big leaves you touch and you get ortiga.
Il famoso macerato di ortiga.
Questa ortiga pure sì?
Yeah, kind of this. Yeah. But this is, maybe you have different kind in Sicily, but these in our climate, these ortigas, they are perfect. They are full of nutrition. Nutrition.
And you see also here sometimes it's new that it's useful.
See, no, perfect.
It work.
See. Also, this one also works here. Cool. If you put them in the water for I think 3 weeks, 2 weeks. It smells terrible. It's terrible smell. But then it becomes this we call jicha in Czech, but this kind of liquid fertilizer. But again, you need to put weaker with water. You put like 1 glass and in the bucket of water and use it as an instant fertilizer. Very nice. In that case, also you need to, if you're fertilizing, you always need to know what kind of chemical it consists the fertilizer. You know, you need the basic 3 things for your garden. NPK. How is it?
Potassium.
Nutrients, potassium, and K. Phosphorus is potassium, and K, draslík. K is potassium. And phosphorus is F. N is nutrition. Sì.
E l'altro è
Azoto,
fosforo.
fosforo e potassio.
E fosforo che lettera è?
P.
Ah, P.
Sì. Nutrition uses usually, I think, as I remember, but find out, check it out. These informations for leaves, for these green parts of the plant. Then phosphorus should be more for the fruits, and potassium, no, I think for the strong structure, like stalks and stuff like these strong things inside. But check it out. But anyway, NPK, that's the basic you need. And most the different compost and different things, it gives you different of these 3 things. So when you have a chicken pee or chicken poo, chicken shits, right? People say, I have chickens, I have a lot of fertilizer for my... Wow. You need to be very careful with chicken poo. They are full of phosphorus, for example.
Tutto, no?
Sì.
Burn everything.
See, if you put too much, it's gone. So you need to be careful with it. Very, very strong in many things are pig manure, and very gentle, which is very nice for your garden in general. It's like cow and sheep manure, and horse manure has an extra characteristic even that it keeps the temperature or keeps it warm. Even something good with the temperature.
Donkey? No?
Yeah, I think the same like horse, probably.
We thought to put seed in a donkey
shit?
old shit to make like a pieces of ground where it
and
starts.
Works?
No, we didn't try yet, but it seems like a good place to for a seed to start.
See. For the start, I think, because it's the warm and the seed likes warm at the beginning, it might be a good idea. Yeah.
No, devo darlo a lei.
No, mi sono accomodata bene, mi fa ombra bene.
And also the compost. Generally, when you make compost, it's if you want to create good compost, you have to be careful of thinking what you put inside and make it balanced. If you put too much of some things, it rots wrong. Like if you put too much grasses, it's difficult to rot, kind of, only grass. You need to mix it with leaves or with a lot of kitchen waste. And if you want to have some minerals inside, also, that's kind of chemistry, alchemy, if you want to do proper compost. I never got too deep into it, but I know many people who do and who had successes with it. To take care of compost, what you put inside. They put, for example, some soya waste they get from some farm, that there are also proteins, and it gives something extra. You put the calcium, the lime, and I think it's nice exploration if you really think about your compost. If you want it rich, and you have no animals. Otherwise, if you have animals and you have this animal compost, it's kind of easy. It's perfect. No, so nowadays, first 4 years, I didn't use anything from outside in my garden. I wanted to try, but it was kind of poor harvest, and they didn't grow the plants so well. Last year, first time in big quantity, I started to use the cow manure that I get from my neighbor. It's so beautiful suddenly how it grows. And also, last 2 years, I have this big swimming pool full of water. Now I got as a second hand. I use it as a water container, and I can water a lot, and it's beautiful how it's flourished suddenly, my garden. So, more you give, more you also get, but still be careful and balanced and think about what you put there. So composting is a big science by itself. We're coming to the end of these basic elements. Veggie compost, I told you. Mulching, I told you. Where it's coming, I told you. The thing.
Ricreazione.
What do you say?
A piece of pizza after like a recreation.
Yeah. Now, good idea. But wait, 10 more minutes. One more thing I didn't tell you about mulching. Be careful what you mulch with. I mean, this pacciamatura.
Come pacciamama? You know pacciamama?
Sì.
Pacciamatura. You can remember.
Pacciamatura. Cool. Now, so what do you think? What would you use as a mulching material? What would be best?
Quello che tagliamo, the things that we cut around.
Grasses.
Dry grass.
Dry. That's one important thing. Dry. It's better if you put them dry. It's okay. You can put them not dry. If it's not thick, it's okay. If it's thick, it against rots, and you don't want that rotting. We said that. But also when you
rotting. The new word of today.
Marcio.
And when you put little, that's another thing. When you put little, it shrinks down and disappears quickly. Then will be gaps. So if you put dry already, you know exactly that this I put and it stays there. If I put wet things, they shrink and suddenly disappear. I need to do another layer. So dry things better. But what kind of material? Dry grasses. What else?
La paglia era the name of the book of Fukuoka.
Straw. Okay. Straw is very nice if you can get it from the farmers. If you don't grow, from him, from Gianluca, from the grains, from grano. Yeah, very nice thing. Leaves. Perfect. Also nice, good mulching material.
He said
the skin of the tree.
Ah, skin. But you need to like crush it.
Yeah.
Know that it's small.
Yes.
But you have these machines that crush also the little branches. When you crush them,
yes.
you can add but small layer. If it's again, if it's even thicker, then there are funguses going on. You don't want that, you know. And then some people use wool, you know, wool from the sheep.
Lana.
Yeah, but I have to tell you, it's okay, but it's difficult to work with somehow. It's rots, it's strange material. It takes time to digest, to decompose. So you have it there for many years. It's not that nice, but it's possible if you have it. Yeah, and it's also keep kind of the temperature. But I think generally when I talk to people who use that, they were not very satisfied for many reasons. But it's possible. Then many people using. Huh?
We use it here.
You use
Yes,
the
a lot.
the wool from the sheep?
Yeah.
Ah, and how is it?
Not good the first year,
Oh,
but I put on the vialetti nell'estrato.
passes.
Ah,
See, see, see.
yeah.
To stop the wheat, basically.
Yes, to walk
Mm-hmm.
up, and it's too hot. It's
Yes.
too hot.
See, see, see. The
You
temperature
can't
thing.
walk, without
Barefoot. No.
And so I think the plants,
Mm.
I think not perfect. But at the end, after 2 years, il terreno è migliorato tantissimo.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
So
It's
it-
getting better.
Wow, sì.
See. Ah, see.
Strong,
Mm.
but after 2 years.
See, see. So it takes time.
Sì,
Yeah.
sì, sì, dà un sacco di mangiare, i primi anni un po' ci scombatti perché è sempre là,
Oh.
te la trovi lì 1 anno e mezzo per come l'hai messa.
It might be nice to experiment in this heat. If there are some plants that they don't like heat, if you cover with wool, maybe it's cold under. No, maybe it's interesting experiments. No? And other things that you can use, people use, I've never done, is the carton, the paper
Ah, yes.
from the
I
boxes.
saw it.
See, and they have good experiences with it. It stops the wheat completely. Nothing grows through. At the same time, it contains some chemicals
It's
from,
not natural.
not completely, but yeah. I never did. So, but it's possible. Yeah, basically. Mhm.
Ma lo devi fermare con le pietre, no? It's easy to fly away.
Also, yes, you need to put piatra. Or once it gets wet, it's okay. But
Okay.
and I was thinking maybe woolen, like cotton clothes. I could use the t-shirts and stuff like this. You have so many people wasting and throw away so much clothes. So if it's cotton, maybe it could work. But I've never done yet, and it's ugly in your garden to have t-shirts and jackets around your vegetables. But
My father is using old T-shirts with human smell to put away some big animal that that take seeds, that eat plants in the garden.
See,
They give this advice to him. And
like protection.
See,
I can
and
give
they
him
have-
mine. I'm such a smelly guy that it will work perfectly.
He wants all of these old clothes here.
Interesting. Natural insecticide.
Used, very used.
Okay, natural repellent. Okay. So that was about the mulching. And the last thing before the pizza, okay, I tell you the last element before the Aether. What was it? The last of the fourth.
Energy.
No, that's Aether. That's energy
the
already.
last of the four. Abbiamo detto il calore,
L'aria.
l'abbiamo detto. L'acqua, l'aria.
L'aria. Yeah, the air.
Hey,
And it's kind of simple because we already said that. You need air, definitely. You need air. It's very important in the soil. So you need to not make it compact, as we said, not hard together, but keep breathing, right? What helps are these earthworms. So if it's live enough, you have a lot of organic material, then there are a lot of earthworms, and they can make it fluffy or airy. One thing is many people do, they have little earthworm farm at home, so they're growing the worms at home and then adding it to the soil.
Sì,
Sì.
sì.
That's interesting.
Lombrichi proprio per
interesting practice I've never done, but yeah, why not? You know. And one more thing is again, do the mulching, so you prevent the compacting the soil. Another important thing: don't step on your garden.
Yeah.
See? Yeah.
It's very important.
See. For that will be important to work on your garden, to make some organization, because then you really don't know where is the, where is the bed and where is the path. And this is one of the reasons that that helps really. Because yeah, okay, you have garden, this is the bed where I grow, I always walk around. Don't step there. No, it's great for the soil, it's great for you also, to create the sensitivity. Then you move differently. Then you realize, okay, not stepping there, that's special space. You know, once you think about special, you're already creating different mental attitude, and the plants feel it. Okay, they feel special. Also, there's something special. That's good. You know, that's good for many reasons. Don't step on your soil. Yeah? And then loosening the soil. It's like opening it.
Oh, okay.
No? Not flipping it upside down, completely flipping it over. But for example, I have a special instrument which has like two forks, like two long, be like this, long thing. It's actually from Italy. I got it in Slovakia, but it's old Italian instrument to remove stones from soil. But I'm using it for loosening. So it has these long metal stuff, and I just hit it and open, hit and open, right? So the air comes in, but I don't flip it over. The same thing you can do with this fork, this 3-4, not with the spade. Spade is like this, right? It doesn't help. But if you have this fork, you put and just move it a little bit, get the air in. It's enough. And one more thing, this is a good about mulching, especially in my climate, in Czech and Romania, because in the winter, people usually, they harvest everything and leave the garden as it is. And during the winter, many snow comes, many water, many sun again. And and it gets, the soil gets hard because of the sun, because of the water. It gets hard. What they have to do in the spring, like plow it, no, like make it soft again. What I do before winter, I cover it with a strong mulch. This time I put a lot of mulch, usually dry grasses, the hay, or leaves. No, I cover it completely. It gets digested partly during the winter, but usually what I do in the spring, I just come out, I uncover, and under it's completely fluffy. It's very airy, because even all the winter the microorganisms work there. They are sheltered, protected, no? So they don't freeze much. It's not get compacted. It keeps working. It keeps being alive, and you save a lot of work for yourself. That was my personal discovery. Never read that anywhere, but just mulch it strongly. You come in the winter, in the spring, and it's perfect to start straight away. So yeah, that's about the air. Yeah, thank you for your attention. These are the 4 elements, and after pausa we will take the others. It will be plants and Aether. All right.